Hi everyone. This is what happened to me when I got government housing part 74. And talking about everything has brought back a lot of memories for me. And sometimes I can't cope with what I remember. So I revert into dreamland. And I remember all the good times that I've had. It's winter in Melbourne and it's freezing. And I've had to buy some more warm clothes, which I hate doing because, as you can appreciate, I hate spending money that I don't have. And it's always grey and dreary, and I often can't go to the park, and I definitely can't go to the beach. So I daydream about it. And I remember what it's like to be warm and on the beach. I took this photo of this sea star, which looks a bit like an octopus, in this beautiful shell. This was a while ago. And it looks so good, but it feels like it's been forever since I last went to the beach because Melbourne is so cold and so depressing, and because everything that I've been talking about has made me go back to that time when I would hardly leave my home, and I felt like I was spending all my time in the courthouse and everything was working against me. Even now, I try to get back into doing things for myself and it doesn't work out. For example, I had a lot of issues exercising because of problems that I had with my hips. But I found this woman on TikTok who was demonstrating some exercises that release your hips, and they work so well that I wanted to get back on the treadmill and start exercising like I used to a long time ago. But of course, something had to go wrong. I loved doing these exercises and I found that they work so well that I wanted to work really hard on the treadmill. And I made a video showing me back on the treadmill because I was so happy that I could exercise after a long time. And I'll show that to you now. So there you can see me smiling and proud that I'm on the treadmill, but typically something had to go wrong. I had released my hip issues and I got back into exercising. Then my treadmill actually broke down and I couldn't get it repaired. So I had to stop exercising and I was devastated. And it made me really depressed, which is, what I was talking about, last video, because it felt so good to be able to exercise without the pain that I used to feel before I found this great woman on TikTok who helped me with all of that. And I can't afford to buy another treadmill, and I can't use public gyms for many reasons. So I started trying to do my exercise program on a step. But the strange thing was that my hip issues came right back after about 5 minutes of working out on the step. So I had to stop doing that as well. But I'll keep telling you all about what happened to me so we can finish the story. And I wanted to let you know what I'm up to now, just as well as talking about what happened back then. So on the 21st of the 8th, 2017, I decided to send a breach notice to the Department of Housing. And I don't know why I started to think about doing that, but I think it was because of repairs that I needed to have done to my unit. I started working on the breach notice, but I felt like it would take some time. So it was daunting, just for me to even start the process. I just didn't have the confidence to write it up in one go. And every time I would think of dealing with the Department of Housing or going to court, I would stop myself from thinking and I would hope that something in my life would change so I wouldn't have to keep fighting them. I had no confidence in myself, which was understandable if you look at everything that happened to me. And I had no confidence in the system, which is also understandable given the way I was treated by the people who work in the justice system. Then on the 1st of the 9th, 2017, I sent a letter to the court regarding my availability for a hearing. So I'm assuming that they made me verify that for some reason. When I left my unit that day, I saw the housing officer from the local housing office in the car park. So I asked them about the letter that was in my letterbox about the laundry, and they claimed that they didn't know what I was talking about, which I found strange because from what I could remember, the letter was actually signed by that person. And I got this sort of response all the time from the Office of Housing and obviously from a whole heap of other people in the public service or from individual people from there. So I posted a letter to the Director of Housing advising them about my concerns about the conduct of the housing office that I dealt with. Then on the 3rd of the 9th, 2017, I wrote a letter to the State MP for Housing requesting a meeting with them. I felt that after everything that I had been through and everything that I had seen and all the emails and letters and everything else, that I should speak directly to an MP. And I did try to do that before, so I should have known that nothing would happen. But like I keep saying, I just kept trying with everything I knew and everything I had to help myself. Then on the 28th of the 8th, 2017, I went to the Salvation Army to ask for food vouchers. And they told me they couldn't give me any food vouchers and all I could do was take some food from their food bank. So I did that. I went there with my daughter because the teachers at her school had a day off for some reason. And I hated asking for food from the Salvation Army in front of my daughter, but I didn't have a choice. I had spent so much of my own money on washing clothes and all the court and administration expenses that were involved in fighting the respondent that I just didn't have any money left. After I went to the Salvation Army for food, I then went on to a pawn shop to try to pawn some of my necklaces for cash to buy food, but they refused to accept them, so I couldn't get any extra money. Food from the Salvation Army is sometimes past its use-by date, and there are a lot of foods that my daughter and I don't eat, so I really needed cash for food or food vouchers to get us through until my next pension payment, but I wasn't able to get either. Also, on that day, I posted a breach notice for loss of quiet enjoyment to the Director of Housing by express post, and the receipt number for that letter was 604 390 870 56099. I also saw that the laundry door was now shut, and I assumed that it was because it was now being locked. So I checked my letterbox for the key that they claimed that they would give me, but there was nothing in there. Then at night, the respondent spent a lot of time banging on my ceiling and stomping around, so I wasn't able to get any sleep, but that was basically normal by now.